Cancer is capsizing Americans' finances. It's bad enough to be diagnosed with cancer, but then to be slapped with the immense cost of medication required to help you stay alive is another. Imagine battling a life-threatening illness while watching your finances crumble into dust. It's the patient, the family, the children who have to deal with the devastating impact of skyrocketing drug prices, overwhelming out-of-pocket costs, and the loss of income that leaves many patients in financial ruin. Welcome to That's Life, I swear. This podcast is about life's happenings in this world that conjure up such words as intriguing, frightening, life-changing, inspiring, and more. I'm Rick Barron, your host. That said, here's the rest of this story. So there you are, the benchmark picture of financial stability, gainfully employed, insured, and comfortably settled in your own home. But then your world caves in, and you're about to take the most emotional roller coaster ride of your life. During your yearly checkup, you discover you have cervical cancer. A diagnosis shatters you beyond what you could have imagined, but only to find out you'll soon be drowning in tens of thousands of dollars of medical debt. The grueling rounds of chemotherapy can sap your energy and other health complications, including a stroke, compounding your struggles. The physical toll is so severe that you lose your job. An eviction notice appears at your doorstep because you're behind in your mortgage payments, and your car gets repossessed. Again, one morning your life is picture perfect, and in the blink of an eye, you lose everything. Think this couldn't happen to you? The financial toll of battling cancer in the United States is reaching staggering heights as the expenses for treatments and medications continue their relentless climb upwards. A shocking proportion, over half, of the new cancer drugs brought to market between 2019 and 2023 demand an annual price tag exceeding $200,000, according to data collected from IQVIA, Institute for Human Data Science. Compounding this burden is the disturbing reality that an escalating number of these afflicted are individuals of working age, a demographic more subject to confronting severe financial hardships following a cancer diagnosis when compared to their older counterparts. The data paints a grim picture. Nearly 3/5 of working age cancer survivors face varying degrees of financial distress. Many struggle to afford the necessary care, forcing them to incur substantial debt. Others turn to desperate measures like payday loans or maxing out their credit cards in a futile attempt to keep their heads above water. Research indicates that 40% of crowdfunding campaigns on platforms like GoFundMe seeking financial assistance are directly tied to individuals battling cancer. For many who cannot meet the high cost of medical care, particularly with cancer treatment, contemplate their options. Things such as skipping medication doses, foregoing doctor appointments, or compromising your food intake. Now, these options and others are unacceptable consequences that no individual battling cancer in the United States should have to endure. Among prevalent diseases, cancer exerts a uniquely devastating financial strain, a phenomenon termed financial toxicity. Treatment regimens involving high-priced medications commence immediately, accompanied by an array of non-medical expenses. Chemotherapy and other therapeutic procedures can render patients too debilitated to maintain employment for weeks or months, delivering a dual blow: loss of income coupled with the potential loss of employer-sponsored health insurance. The financial repercussions can reverberate for many years. It can precipitate a cataclysmic depletion of wealth, the ripples of which persist indefinitely, and you have debt collectors who continue to hound you regarding unpaid medical bills. Now, the root of the problem stems from the soaring costs of medical care and cancer drugs, which have escalated far beyond the rate of inflation or have skyrocketed to high starting prices from the outset. Commonplace cancer medications bear price tags that defy comprehension, often exceeding hundreds of thousands of dollars. A drug called Imbruvica, a treatment for leukemia, carries a staggering list price surpassing $213,000 for a full year supply. Federal data reveals that the average Medicare patient taking this drug shouldered an out-of-pocket expense of $5,247 in 2022 alone. Another drug, Tagrisso, a top-selling lung cancer drug, demands an annual list price of approximately $208,000, and that's per year, mind you. Now, many insurers have shifted the mounting healthcare costs onto the shoulders of patients themselves. Certain employer-backed plans mandate that individuals pay a certain percentage of a drug's cost, an amount that can rapidly accumulate into the thousands of dollars. The financial strain is merely one facet of the toll exacted, as individuals' livelihoods are also jeopardized. Numerous patients are compelled to take extended leave or altogether cease working following a cancer diagnosis. Those undergoing chemotherapy are more likely to discontinue employment within the first 4 years compared to those who do not receive such treatment. Now, the burden frequently extends to entire families, with relatives contributing financially or assuming caregiving responsibilities for their ailing loved ones. Individuals afflicted with cancer face a very significantly elevated risk of falling behind on credit card payments, mortgage obligations, and encountering other financial challenges compared to those without cancer. I mean, there have been cases where people liquidate the majority of their entire 401k just to stay afloat financially. Additional studies demonstrate that patients burdened with higher out-of-pocket expenses are more likely to delay initiating their prescribed medications or discontinue taking them altogether. There's a striking correlation here. Cancer patients who file for bankruptcy exhibit an 80% higher risk of mortality compared to those who do not resort to bankruptcy proceedings. The detrimental impact on survival rates is quite substantial. The mounting hardship has galvanized advocates and doctors to seek patchwork solutions, but gaping holes remain in the safety net. An increasing number of cancer centers now offer financial assistance programs for patients struggling with economic challenges, and nonprofits help defray costs associated with food, travel, and other essential needs. However, their funding is finite, and many individuals remain unaware of how to access these resources. Only a small fraction of patients who turn to crowdfunding platforms like GoFundMe to solicit financial aid achieve their financial goals. Now, the American Cancer Society conducted a survey on how best to help reduce cancer-related medical debt and help families already burdened by medical debt. I won't read you all these, but these are a few top ones that came to mind here. 62% said ensuring patients receive the full benefit of drug discounts and assistance programs. 52% said patients who need it are directed to financial aid assistance before they begin care. Now, some of the best ways to help those with medical debt: 54% agree that prohibiting predatory and discriminatory debt collection practices would be a great help. Another one that popped out was that 46% said minimizing sales of medical debt to medical debt collectors. Assessing medical debt in the U.S. is crucial to accomplishing ending cancer as we know it for everyone. In order to effectively achieve that reality, all individuals must first and foremost have access to quality and affordable health insurance coverage. We need to look at supported public policies that make insurance options with affordable premiums, comprehensive benefits, and affordable cost sharing available to all individuals. To make healthcare affordable, we have to prevent people with cancer, survivors, caregivers, and their families from incurring debt as a result of necessary cancer treatment. Where medical debt cannot be prevented, at the very least, aim to minimize the negative impacts medical debt has on a patient's health, quality of life, and financial well-being. So what can we learn from this story? What's the takeaway? Cancer patients frequently must choose between paying for treatments and paying for rent, utilities, food, or other necessities. In many cases, patients use their life savings to pay for their treatments. Sometimes they must go even to the point of declaring bankruptcy. For me, I thought this was America. You know the model. The United States of America, the most powerful country in the world. Well, there you go, my friends. That's life, I swear. For further information regarding the material covered in this episode, I invite you to visit my website, which you can find on Apple Podcasts, for show notes, calling out key pieces of content mentioned and the episode transcript. As always, I thank you for the privilege of you listening and your interest. Be sure to subscribe here or wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. See you soon.